Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm going to do something different for the structure of this video. Last night, I was sent some porn via email that contained Dallin H. Oaks. And so I looked up and obtained his talk at the Pulpit of Conference on pornography. And we're going to go over it today. Originally, I intended to only put all of the information in picture memes and texts for you to read. But apparently, a good number of my viewers are confused. They are wondering why there's no volume. The majority of my viewers don't even read the pictures or let alone look at them. They wait for me to speak. Or they just purposely come on and put a thumbs down and run away. They don't even listen. Like the video I did last night. When I left it, it had 2 immediate thumbs down. The guys obviously didn't listen to the video to hear how it applied directly to them for doing exactly what they did to me. This is the damage the church causes. So, the structure that I have planned is to show a clip from Oaks and then comment on it. We shall go from there, and I'll make the video as we go along, and I shouldn't be on long enough for the cyber terrorist to freeze my camera. We'll see. And we'll go from there. Obviously, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't get a quote from, because every single line was gold. You know, his misuse of scriptures to prove his point, which we'll sort of get into, but it has to do with redefining words, vilifying pornography, so then he can then justify misusing scripture that has nothing to do with the subject matter. Let us proceed.
Here, brethren, I must tell you that our bishops and our professional counselors are seeing an increasing number of men involved with pornography, and many are active members. Some involved in pornography apparently minimize its seriousness and continue to exercise the priesthood of God because they think no one will know of their involvement. But the user knows, brethren, and so does the Lord.
Alrighty, so further into Dallin H. Oaks' talk on pornography. This time is what I've been exposing for you this whole time, and this very year it's all hitting the fan. The fruits of psychology are corrupt to the core. And Dallin H. Oaks, as the leader of the church, even though this was when he was just an apostle, he's just a member of the board of directors of the corporation. This is the dark evil that I did the other day, over the weekend, as well as all these years, when I found out about the Articles of Incorporation by Heber J. Grant. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, founded by Brigham Young in 1852, ceased to exist on the face of the earth with the Edmunds-Tucker Act of 1887. Gone. It's a criminal organization because of the Perpetual Immigration Fund. That with the church, with Section 119, with Brigham Young's practice of polygamy, the financial part of it escalated the criminal activity into human, adult, and child trafficking, slave trafficking, as well as sex trafficking for adult and child. And if you, for some reason, have missed my over 8.1K videos on this subject, no, this was not founded by Joseph Smith. This was founded by Brigham Young. He's the secret combination that overthrew Joseph, destroyed him, and turned him Christian so that they can hide behind religion to commit their crimes. And so Heber J. Grant, 1923, after Wilford Woodruff, Lorenzo Snow, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., and Heber J. Grant all lied and deceived Mormons about the church's fall. They led people to believe that the church was still in existence, that they are still true, that nobody will stop this church, the priesthood will roll on, even though Brigham Young didn't have authority to succeed, let alone be the keys of the president, let alone to therefore have the other authorities for which he does not belong. Done that video. We're talking about porn. Dedicating today as Porn Day. Because this is pure evil doctrine that has permeated our culture because of evangelicals. And Heber J. Grant joined the bandwagon, recognizing the rise of evangelicalism after evangelicals were pissed that they were denied forcing the Bible as science in the public classrooms. Oh yeah? And so they went on the idol worshiping kick and thus created pornography in our modern definition, which has nothing to do with the original Greek one that I went over in the first part. So, in this one, he talks about working with family services. So, the Articles of Incorporation in 1923, to review it again with you if you've forgotten or you didn't watch the video, they are long videos, so that's also a burden, because you've got better things to do with your life than save your life from the great and abominable church that's wanting to murder you and coup the government. You've got better things to do. No pressure. I saw a show or a movie the other day where the guy pulled that stunt on one of the characters. No pressure. The fate of the balance of the world rests in your hands. No pressure. You get to choose. Hilarious. And so, this, I guess we should bring that up. Quote from it, because this is what it's all about. Sex crimes. There you be. Wrong place. Get over here. Gotta keep an eye on the camera to make sure it doesn't freeze from cyber terrorism. Though I noticed my opposers are late today, I do recognize the patterns. So, Because of Section 119, Heber J. Grant carries on with that. These articles of incorporation are not known to the Mormons. They don't announce it, hey, we filed articles of incorporation. Because Brigham Young, we didn't know about that until the Edmunds-Tucker Act, because the Edmunds-Tucker Act refers to the articles of incorporation in 1852. That's when Brigham Young incorporated the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which means it wasn't Joseph's. And so the reason why Brigham can't tell the Mormons, hey, I incorporated the church today, is because he and his missionaries, the true Mormon Danites, were lying and denying to converts, converting them to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You have to watch that 3-hour video yesterday to understand this. Nobody will. It's not like the fate of the world is hanging in the balance. No pressure. You choose. And so, yeah, this is all part of the secret combination from Mormons. Because if they find out, wait a minute, so we aren't the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Now we are? So, Joseph didn't change the name? You lied to us? Yeah, that's why they got to keep it a secret. This is a government document not shown to the Mormons. And so the Congress shutting down the church didn't tell the Mormons. And so the Mormon view is that the United States is big, bad, and mean, just like Brigham Young told us to, death to America in the Covenant Path. They're denying us our kingdom. John D. Lee did nothing wrong. But you get Mormons who think that way, still to this day. And so Heber J. Grant, again, secretly incorporates an organization. And it's not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It still does not exist on the face of the earth. These corporate board members with the CEO are lying and deceiving us. They are a corporation. They are a business. They are not a religion. They claim to be a charity, but no donation for tithing. Tithing is forced because of Section 119, which is what the United States shut this church down for. The whole thing is criminal. I've done the videos several times. And even recently, yet again. And so the name of the corporation is just that, the corporation. And so if you've seen the leaked paycheck stub of Irene's, up in the upper right-hand corner is COP, Corporation of the President. That's the name of this organization. It is not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And yet, Nelson gets up at the pulpit of conference after rigging the search engines and says, Jesus is offended if you don't say his name repeatedly. They are not religious leaders. They are businessmen. They're here to make a buck, and the Articles of Incorporation, November 26, 1923, says you, former members and descendants of the former members, are to pay this corporation. And so they allow you to have churches. They allow you to have temples. They allow you a temple square. They begrudgingly finally agreed to have a bishop's storehouse. but all for the purpose of the corporate agenda, mission, to coup the government. And so, that's why they obtained the land for Mormons to assemble for their supposed religion, of whom they are not authorities on the religion. They are purposely withholding Scripture from us. They are purposely not translating the Bible because they're a corporation. They are not a religion. They are not prophets, seers, revelators, and translators. They have stolen the titles and are fooling you with them. Thus why, if you actually tested them like the Scriptures tell you to do, so that you won't be deceived by wolves who tell you what big eyes you have, or I botched it. Little Red Riding Hood says, "What big eyes you have, Grandma." It's a wolf in Grandma's clothing. And the wolf says, "The better to see you with." And so, thus, the thumbnail picture. Anybody catch that? Anybody? Why, Oaks, what a big beam you have. The better to judge you with, dear. Hello? Wolves in sheep's clothing. Judgment. I thought that was hilarious, but now that I've had to explain it. And so, yes, these guys literally are wolves on Wall Street. Yes. Never saw the movie, though. I really want to see the movie. I have the movie. I haven't seen the movie. I need to see the movie. But anyway, I'm not really a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio. He's just not the best of actors. Only the Man in the Iron Mask. Not him as king, but him as the prisoner. That is good acting. Not as king. That is evil. Dear God, that was evil. Man, that was heart-wrenching what he did to that woman. But nonetheless, yeah, it's a tough scene at the end there. And I'm about to cry over that, so I'll move on. Moving on. Forget about it. Turn it off. Just like sex. So Mormons are the cash cows for this church. Corporation. It is not a church. They perpetuate the stolen property of Joseph's. None of this belongs to this organization. None of it belongs to Brigham Young. It's Joseph's. And when they murdered Joseph, that was the end of Joseph's religion, because not a single person followed section 107 verse 22 to succeed Joseph Smith. None of them. None of the other branch-offs, not Brigham especially. And that's why every single one of the branch-offs has a different way of how to succeed to the president of their church. It's because of that. And so Joseph Smith III, when he finally decided to do a church, his succession was through descendant of him, because he's the son of Joseph Smith. Brigham Young, president of the 12. So the succession is the president of the 12. Exact same pattern. And so, yeah, this is all a fraud and a con, and you're not getting it. That's what he's talking about, having psychologists. Psychologists use fallacy arguments. They do not use logical arguments. Just like religion of Christianity uses fallacy arguments. The first creed of Christianity is all fallacy arguments. Joseph Smith is correct when he says it's all wrong. Not a single line in the first creed is true. It's because it's all lies. They stole the Jewish scriptures and replaced them with the brand new Christianity. And so thus why everything is turned into literal history, when it can't be. Science says no. And so just like you have Christians infiltrating science to overthrow it, just like evangelicals tried to do with the Supreme Court in 1900, you have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints now in control of the state of Utah. Thus, their Mormons are in the government to protect and defend and promote the church and its standards and values upon everyone, Mormon or not, faithful or an apostate, anti-Mormon, antichrist Korahor. And so those who aren't Mormon get punished by the law in some form or fashion. You are discriminated against. And the laws of the land discriminate against those who are not Mormon, who are not faithful Mormon. And thus why all the laws that take away our rights to life, liberty, and property. They are doing that because of the church. And it's not a church, it's a corporation. This is the danger we are in. This is the coup that they are involved with. To put Trump in to destroy the government as the Illuminati pattern, and then the church has Utah and all the land that they've possessed with the temples that they keep putting out, and all the money people keep giving them through the light of the world vending machines. How much are you going to give to the church? Oh, look, here's a new one this year for a Muslim charity, because we hate the Jews. And Israel needs to surrender to Islam. Yeah, they want the chaos. They want the confusion so that the world destroys itself and Utah reigns supreme when everybody's dead. Just like Albert Pike said. This is the plot. And so, after World War II, America took in Nazis, gave them asylum, put them to work with the CIA. The documents have been declassified. We now know about it. Movies are being made. TV shows are being made. We know the abominations and atrocities of our own government, betraying we the people. And so the church, embracing Hitler, Moroni and the swastika, had their own Mormons grow up to be psychologists, do their work in Colorado, Stanley Smith Stevens, and continue the practice of the Nazis and what they did to the Jews, but now on Americans and for Utah on anti-Mormon, antichrist, apostate Korahors who violate the law of porn. Literally. The Haunted Mansion Asylum in Provo has a graveyard of nameless people. There was a woman who was trying to identify the various people and where their tombstones are, their unmarked graves, but that's an overwhelming project. But they still have the books of the diagnoses of the victims locked up in that concentration camp of horrors created by this church. It was John F. Kennedy who, before he was assassinated, obviously, signed into law an act that did away with asylums in America. And technically he fired all psychologists in that act. But psychologists then, wanting to continue to maintain a lifestyle off of exploiting people with name-calling and bullying and abuse and Nazi abominations, decided to enforce their PhD doctorates to deceive people. You'll hear in the news now when they talk with a psychologist, they talk about mental health. It's a fraud. It's all a fraud. They do not use science. They use fallacy arguments. They use Stanley Smith Stevens' dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorizations for human behavior, which is a fallacy argument. You can't categorize human behavior. That's like symptom management. You can't do that. If a medical doctor did symptom management, he would have his license revoked and would go to prison. Hey, that's what psychologists are doing here in the state of Utah this year. They're all going to prison for the consequences. And so the church only likes psychology when it supports their position. And so the church originally was against psychology. And there was a contention going on in the 80s. The church had made a deal with psychology to help the church by vilifying such things as porn. And most especially homosexuality. And so that's why there was the conversion therapy going on here in the state of Utah until it was forced to stop in 2021. Yeah, just the other year. All these years after World War II to 2021, electroshock conversion therapy. Talk about your extremist sexual abuse. These guys are corporate men. They are not religious leaders. They are violating the scriptures if they are to be religious leaders. Because anybody can read, no, sex is the first commandment. And yet, that's why this church purposely puts in homosexuality as the cause for the destruction of Sodom. When Ezekiel 16 says, neglecting the poor. But the church can't put that in there because that's what the church does. And so, the church, these latter days, especially after 2020, went on a rampage of porn obsession, getting psychologists to talk with prophets about the evils of porn. And so you have Dallin H. Oakes' 2015 talk that got the church to lead into this. They decided, hey, yeah, we need to start doing this. And part of that was to create a blacklist of those who are going to porn sites. Now, the church likewise bans internet porn, and I think there's a little segment that we'll get to on that, but to let you know about, again, the laws of the land. Art is not obscene. Art cannot be porn. Only actions by human beings are criminal. And so, if a person rapes somebody, that's a crime, that's illegal. But a naked person, not illegal, not dangerous, not harmful, not addictive, like psychologists are pushing for the church. They're feeding each other back and forth. Psychologists create things about human behavior as they are self-fulfilling with bullying on the victims to have the victims self-fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy of the psychologist. That's what he's talking about when psychologists say that porn is harmful, addictive, and dangerous, etc. And there's more clips for that as we get in. And so any digital thing is art. Digital artwork explained. Digital art in any artwork that draws upon digital technology as an essential part of its creative process. So thus it is not illegal. Thus it is not to be banned on YouTube. Thus it is not to be cyber terrorized by Christians who think they're going to enforce their religion on other people by creating malware viruses when people click on that channel or site. And so it encompasses a wide range of techniques from digital drawings, paintings, and illustrations to photos, videos, AI. AI is an art, and yet there was a scandal. And this is where people are confused concerning copyrights. AI is a reconstruction of someone else. And so AI is fully within its own right by the creator. And so just like somebody taking an image of a woman and making a statue, making a painting, making a drawing, taking a photograph, recording a video, and AI, they're all separate mediums. And the person can't say, hey, you've stolen my image. No, they're turning it into an art form. And so a painter can't say that his work has had a copyright violation when somebody takes a picture of his painting, because that picture is a different art medium. It is not plagiarizing. It is taking one form of art and turning it into another form of art. There is no copyright laws to prevent that. In fact, the copyright laws say that's perfectly fine and acceptable. The person of the picture has the copyright of the picture. The person of the painting has the copyright for the painting. The person who makes a video has the copyright for the video. The person of the statue has the copyright for the statue. And nobody wants to accept this because people want exclusive greed for money income. And that's where the problem comes in with the purposeful miscommunication and confusion over the law. And so YouTube does not get this and understand this. They don't want to. And there's other problems with that, but we're dealing with porn. We're focusing on porn. We're obsessed with porn. Okay, so we don't need this picture either. Alrighty? And so that's the evil of psychology. They bully people. You are mentally retarded. We are the only ones who can help you. Pay us money. And they will never cure you. They have a job. They need to keep their job in order to have the lifestyle that they live. And that's criminal activity. Using humans to be exploited for your financial gain. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints purposely uses psychology to that end. And the church, even in 38.6.13 on pornography in the handbook that Nelson released, talks about working with psychologists. In addition to the inspired help of church leaders, the bullying, sexual abuse. They just twist the words. Some members may need professional counseling. Leaders may contact family services for assistance if needed. It's purposely creating a problem, just like psychologists do, and then have the solution for people to pay. And so here in the state of Utah, Family Services works with the University of Utah, Mental Retardation Services, and Valley Behavioral Health Services, and most likely others, but I have not found the connection yet. I've not really been looking since. It was in West Valley where I needed to find the connection. Found it. Okay? This is all to get gain, to promote business over your lives, because the church is purposely wicked. And so, for the purpose of the internet, making a blacklist on porn sites, because that was the big scandal. Why porn is still banned in the state of Utah is because they got the government to make the law, and then Texas overrid it, but because Utah said screw Texas, porn's still unavailable in Utah. And so you'll see the little video clip of how they say, well, because Utah, is taking away your agency and your rights, we are not going to show our content in your state. And so the church purposely uses computer technology and attacks other sites, just like Christians who are cyber terrorists, like the YouTube Mormon employee is a cyber terrorist to do the will of the church. Likewise, the church is using their religion and psychology to justify the attacks on other sites on the internet that are not illegal, that are not porn. According to the church's definition, sure, but are not obscene. They're technically artistic, educational, and scientific. But until this purge of the false data and inputting of the correct data takes place, we're still going to have this contention that the church is purposely causing. And they want this contention. They want destruction. They want controversy, so that this is why they say, well, since there's a problem, nobody gets to have it. They love that. And I've seen it way too many times in my life growing up. It pisses me off. Because then they say, well, Billy ruined it for the rest of you. Blame Billy. Beat up Billy. Because that's what they're doing as adults, as the people in positions of trust. They're passing the blame to somebody else when they're the ones who caused the problem. With the fallacy arguments, the miseducation, the misinformation, the deceptions, the lies. And so, to go over the psychological tactic, they tell people you're mentally retarded. If you have these outward behaviors, you're mentally retarded. And they repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over until they get people to accept it. And then once they accept it, go, see, you need help. We're the only ones who can help you now. And so then they bully the government to give them exclusive privileges and protections from prosecution, to enslave people, to lock them up, to take away their life with drugging, promoting big pharma, to use them as lab rats, All for the sake of what? Just so that they have a nice, cushy lifestyle. That's it. Their whole thing is a fraud. Conversion therapy never helped anybody. It's just torture. The Nazis knew it when they did it to the Jews. They just wanted to see how the Jews would respond. Reaction videos. Oh, look at that. Ha ha ha. Oh, wow, his hair caught on fire. Ha ha ha. These people are pure evil. And it's all coming back for the nation. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So, this was only like a 30-second segment.